welcome to Full 42. Did you notice in the intro there was like a weird little box where your camera is? It's kind of strange. Maybe only I saw it or something. But sorry for the glitch if it appeared.
I also wasn't.
People, what was that?
I wasn't watching. I was sending you pictures.
Yeah, and dancing around. I saw.
No, I wouldn't call it dancing. I am all danced out.
Yeah, so this is the Full 42, and we're going to be talking about our top 5 games from the years 2000 2010. Before we get to that, we have a whole show about us just stupid stuff that we do talk about. And, you know, we kind of BS around. It's a live show. People come in, they talk about stuff. So if you're wondering why it's so long for such a short list, that's why. Sometimes I give that, what is it called? A PSA, a disclaimer or something at the beginning. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Sometimes I give one of those because sometimes we get people like, asking why we got a 3-hour show talking about one subject, and it's not really about the one subject. It's about a bunch of stuff. But you can always fast forward if you're watching later.
Yeah, if only we did timestamps.
I did for a while, and I didn't see that it made much of a difference. So yeah. Nice hat.
Thank you. Yes, it was. It is. I mean, I stole it back from I got one for Luca and Mika, but I'm wearing it on the show tonight. So
I'm guessing not guessing. You said it, but your shirt is kind of telling everybody what you went and did this weekend. 3 days of partying at a festival or something. Go see a whole bunch of bands and kind of like a mediocre one that you got a T-shirt for.
Yeah. And that's the show. Thanks for coming in and watching. Yeah, no, it was the first year. It was scheduled 3 years ago. It's called Ocean's Calling, and it's down in Ocean City. And you've seen shows where I've been down there. I've been going down there since 1992. I love it down there. And the first year they did it, Dave Matthews was the headliner, and it got canceled because of weather. So last year so I didn't miss it, which was great. The last year was the first one, and I couldn't make it. I think Alanis Morissette was like the biggest headliner that they had, which was cool. But I didn't go, and I went for the first time this year. And it's 3 days. Starts at 12 o'clock. Goes the curfew is 11, so it's 11 hours if you're there from beginning to end. And I went down with my sister and my mother were already down there, so I met them down there. And Friday, my sister and I went with a friend of ours, Dan. It was an absolute shit show because of the weather. It was unreal how wet everything was. I should have sent you. I took a picture when I got home. I took a picture of my sweatpants near my ankle because there was a dry spot about that big, and I was so excited that something was dry. It came so fast and so quick with that rain that everything walking was flooded. Like everything walking through like water. It was crazy. Like it's all coming from the hurricane, right? Absolutely bonkers. But it was awesome. Like it's a hell of a story. We're laughing our asses off because like, of course, day one is going to be a torrential downpour. But super fun. There's 3 different stages, whole bunch of bands, some up and coming, some that you've definitely heard of. Like Young the Giant was on there. Pigeons Playing Ping Pong was on there.
But you said some I would definitely hear of.
Yeah. Like The Killers was a headliner. Okay. Bare Naked Ladies was there. OAR was there. Fucking Dee Snider came out on Sunday. It was amazing. It really was amazing. But they have 3 stages. They're not playing at the same time. The only ones
I was about to say that'd be funny.
Yeah, the only ones that were the opposite, like the main stage and the other stage on the other side of the boardwalk, basically. So even when they were playing at the same time, they weren't on top of each other, and it was just chill. Like people that do festivals did the festival well. The whole it was organized. I don't know the company that does it, but apparently they've done other things like Asbury Park. They do one. Oh, I just went off. That was Sunday night, Dave Matthews Band. And that's not even the stage. You're covering up the stage with our heads. The stage is over there in the lower right. The center green thing, there's the stage off to the right. The center green thing is like the soundboard, everything. And then the back, like way in the back, like it was there was 50,000 people that they sold. I'm sure not all of them were there.
That's a lot of people.
Maybe 45,000 by people that didn't make it by Sunday night or had to go home early or whatever. It was insane.
All right, everybody, it's time to play Where's Waldo with Mike. Everybody just kind of take a moment here.
I can tell you where we are actually in this picture. I know exactly where I am. So it was super fun. It really was.
Did you get this picture from something else, or did you get like a drone or something?
No, that was posted on the Oceans Calling Facebook page.
Yeah, because you gave me this picture.
Yeah. It was that's like noon, 1 o'clock maybe. But that's if you can make it. I don't know if you can. I don't know what you're doing. Put us off to the side.
I don't know what I'm doing either.
But yeah, there you go. So that's Ocean City, and that's the inlet. Normally, where all that stuff is, that's just inlet parking, and it's just a parking lot. But what they did is they walled off. If you see, I don't know if you can zoom in. They fenced in an entire area of this boardwalk. The shops, that whole perimeter is all fenced in. You couldn't go anywhere, and you got in at 2 entrances, and that was it. You were in. You can come and go up until 7 o'clock. It goes all the way back. That backstage that I said was Dave Matthews, that's all the way in the back of that photo. Like that's the main stage. And then the other stage, the Rock, that was the main stage. The Rockville stage is the one up close on the bottom. You're looking at the back of it. Yep, that's the other one. And then that white tent to the left, no, a little lower, that was the other stage. So those were the 3 stages. And then you can just post up in that parking lot in between those 2 stages, and like one band was done, the other one would play. And you didn't have to be close. Like the sound was good. The whole beach was open, but it's all walled in. Like it's all fenced in. So you couldn't, like, it wasn't just like the businesses were open for this thing. So the all the shops, the pier was open. The games were open. I thought my expectation, all I wanted to do was see Dave Matthews. I was excited about the Killers. I was excited about Bare Naked Ladies. I was excited about Offspring. Like they had it was an unbelievable set list. But I went into it thinking it's going to be a shit show. Like people don't know how to handle themselves. They're going to be drinking too much. Like it's going to be a mess. And it really wasn't. There were some that were, first time festival goers, right? That couldn't handle their alcohol or whatever else they were on. But for the most part, everything was super organized. Everyone was super friendly. I was unbelievably impressed with the whole outcome of this thing. It was really amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. But that's where I've been going there since I was a sophomore in high school. And I like that whole area, the bay. We didn't have to drive. We took a boat from the house over to the bay and then walked across. Like everything was super smooth, minus the torrential downpour that came in Friday night. That was it.
I mean, it looks like if the tide comes in, that whole place is gone.
No, because they beached it up. Like they put that whole wall as sand, and then they had a fencing. So that darker orange that you see, that little trail that goes, that was how they took people to the stage. Yeah, that was for them. But that to the right of where you just were, that's a wall of sand. And then the fencing is on the other side of that cart path, so people couldn't go over the fence. Like if it was a severe high tide, I'm sure it would have gotten washed out. But it was that's from the top of the Ferris wheel looking at the Dave concert.
Did you take that picture?
No. Again, I took it from the Oceans Calling website.
You wouldn't be on the what? You wouldn't be on the Ferris wheel?
No, I wouldn't. No. Yeah, that was. It was amazing. It really was. The crowd. I'm a huge Dave Matthews fan, as you know. The crowd was exciting. It was a 2-hour set. He played a lot of old stuff. Like it was cool. Yeah, those are the hats. They were free. Hoop tee. It was 2014 in Ocean City. It's kind of like a Twisted Tea, but not. They were giving these out for the first.
What is that? I mean, I've seen that face many times, but
I just wanted to take a picture, and they were like, I don't know why it took so long to take. I'm snapping other pictures the whole way too.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's me and my sister. She was my festival buddy for the weekend. That's my mom.
Ah, that's good memories.
Yeah, it was super fun. We took a picture there. So that was at the yacht club where the boat picked us up. So we took a picture there to start the day, and then we took a picture there to end the day. And if you look at Friday's start, it looked so promising. We were so happy. And then the picture from the end of the night on Friday, we were soaking wet. It was like we were just different people. That was the end of Friday.
Did you know that guy was in your picture? He looks like he just went.
No, that's our friend Dan. He was.
Okay.
We were just like we were laughing so much at everything that was going on. It was hysterical. So there, if you know 311, do you listen to 311?
I might have once or something. I mean, I'm sure they have a song that I've heard.
I'm sure they have a song called Amber, and that picture was taken during the song Amber. It came out really cool. OAR was great. It was my first time watching them. They rocked. They have such a good time on stage. Just a little photo op.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was super fun. Oh, I didn't send the other one. Shit. So that was Mark Murphy. We just, if you're a cook or, you watch anything on the Food Network, you know who Mark Murphy is. We ran into him randomly while we were walking around. And then we were having lunch. Fuck is it? We were having lunch at one of these places, and he might look familiar.
Oh, yeah, I know. He's a chef too, right?
Yeah, Robert Irvine.
Yeah.
Just chilling, having lunch at a place. Huh. Really nice. Both of them are really nice. Asked Mark about what bands he was excited to see. He's a fan of Young the Giant. Robert Irvine's a huge fan of OAR. But yeah, I went in with low expectations, and I was unbelievably thrilled at what happened. It was great.
That's cool. I'm glad you had fun. Because of all that, I know you're probably pretty tired. We're going to have a probably short one today for us, which, buckle up, is probably like an hour and a half, right?
Maybe.
We'll see. I don't know. We're doing this list, and we're not going to start it just yet, but we're doing this list because right now we're also doing a list of the best movies from the 90s. And I thought, man, we ought to just start doing the same thing with board games, switching them out, things like that. And just like with the 80s, I bunched up 2000 to 2010. So, which turns out was kind of a mistake because there's so many games, but it was a tough one. Even
in this, 2004 is a huge year.
Yeah, 2008 too.
Yeah, eight's another one.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun to do. We'll keep it short. I got Lucas painting. I'm excited. Back-to-back weekends, right? QSCon was last weekend. I'm still recovering from that. The house is still a mess because I left to go down to the festival on Thursday, and then it was just, you're up early, you catch the boat, you're there till fucking midnight, and then you're up and doing it again. I wouldn't trade it. It was amazing.
I know a chunk of our friends are on their way to Essen this week, if not already. And, safe flights and all that stuff, even though we hate you all for going. No, I'm kidding.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What was that?
I'm looking forward to seeing what they find over there.
Yeah. I hope everybody has a good show. But it's kind of like a ghost town, social media wise and stuff like that this next week, I bet. Either a ghost town or a post I don't want to look at because I'm not at Essen. Yeah. So, hey, there's Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Are you going to Essen? I wonder if he's going to Essen.
I'm pretty sure Matt chose QSCon over Essen, which was the right move.
Okay. Well, I've never been to either one, so I can't say.
Fine. Nope, not yet.
Next year I'll make maybe both. We'll see. At least one of them, right?
I have my favorite. I have my pick.
I mean, have you been to Essen before?
No, not yet.
Well, then, you can't really choose either.
Nah, QSCon's way better.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, before we get into the list, I guess do we have we didn't talk about it. Do we have any announcements?
I just got Lucas painting.
Okay, well then skip. Luca painting.
I'm
See,
not,
it's okay. Fast one.
One, I'm not fully rested, and two, I'm not fully caught up on all the things, so I wouldn't even know what to talk about.
I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff probably to talk after Essen. You know, there's deals and stuff being made, and probably stuff you can't even talk about for a while after Essen and stuff.
Mhm.
Sure, but you know,
Yeah.
all right, you got a Luca painting.
I have a Luca painting. So Luca turns 3 in November, almost a month away. Almost a month. So it's October. Tomorrow's October. Holy shit! Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So he's been doing watercolors for the better part of 2 years, and for the past 2 seasons, every Monday that we're on, I have a Luca painting that we show off, and we try and look at who's the more disturbed of the bunch, at what you see in the picture that Luca created. So I'll cover up the title. This one is from mid-August, I guess, but just last month, almost a month ago.
I kind of miss the days where you didn't know what he was working on or looking at or calling it.
Yeah, I have some. So this one, I have my thing, and he didn't name this until today. Like I just asked him before the show, Luca, what is this? And he told me what it was. But I had my own thing. For this, so I do have one for this one.
Let's Rorschach it up and see what we see. In comments, let us know.
August 23rd.
Ooh, I like that color.
Yeah, it's a nice blue.
Oh,
like a slate blue. Slate blue. It's a little lighter on my side, but.
All right. Well, I know what I see. Let's wait for comments and stuff so I don't influence too much. What was that?
I know what I see.
I'm interested in what you're going to see on there. I tend to like the 1 or 2 colors that he does here. The rest of last week's dolphin.
Well done.
Oh, that poor dolphin. Profile Gonzo. I could see that.
Good one, Brandon.
Yep, that's a good one.
Oh, we could backtrack to an announcement. We signed one of Brandon's games.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Can you say what the name is?
No, because it might change.
Yep, that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Blue Snuffleupagus. Well, congratulations, Brandon. Hopefully he'll make it since he's still, I still haven't made mine. So I'm just saying.
It's coming. I have like when the announcements happen and I can talk about stuff, I will talk about stuff.
Let's see. Yep. Witchy Poo? I don't know what Witchy Poo is. Is that a character?
I have no idea. It's probably something that haunts Dave's dreams. Maybe that's what he calls it.
Okay, so what I see is a giant evil cloud about to eat a hot air balloon.
Oh, wow.
So you see that hot air balloon trying to get away from it. It's got its mouth open a little bit at the bottom. It's got an eye right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be, this is the bucket of the hot air balloon?
Yeah. Yep.
Good call.
Well, it's actually kind of missing the bucket, isn't it? But yeah.
I mean, I guess kind of.
See, that's why I wait for people to do their comments.
I didn't see that. That's a good one.
Witchy Poo has an HR Puff Stuff character. Stated reference. Okay.
Please tell us more.
No, please don't. No,
I need to know. No more.
What was that?
I need to know more about Witchy Poo.
All right. What did you see, and then tell us what he named it?
So I saw a plague doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see like the face that you saw.
Yep.
And obviously it's not the right kind of nose, but that gave me plague doctor vibes. So
I have one of those masks.
There were a lot of people wearing them during COVID. Like I saw them walking around with those masks on, like that was helping.
Yeah. I mean, if you wore a normal one under it and you're just playing around, I guess that'd be fine. But yeah.
Yeah.
All they're really good for is you're supposed to stuff like potpourri into the nose so that you don't smell dead bodies, right?
Right.
But the more you
The more you know.
know.
So that's
Yeah.
today.
So what did he call it?
So I said, Luca, come here. What is this? Because I want to have a name for the show.
No.
And we're all way off because clearly it is an elephant.
I mean, no, I totally can see that it could be an elephant.
Mhm.
It's got the big elephant ear.
Mhm.
Very, very short nose, though.
Very short. It's a baby elephant.
He's in the middle of sneezing. It's like, whoop.
Perfect. Oh, he's trying to eat a peanut.
Yeah. Not through the nose, though.
Well, like, if this is his mouth,
Yeah.
then the peanut's over here.
Yeah, baby elephant.
There you go. So
See
that's today's.
Nice. Very cool.
Yep. I guess reference. I don't know if I've ever shown it before, but if you notice the back, right?
Yeah.
So now he's labeling them. So that's up here. The date that he made it is over here. And then on the bottom, what I do is I write the full 42, and then I put the number that this is, which I think this is number 84 is going to be on here. And then I put the date of the show that it's on. So
okay.
Looking at these,
you don't put the episode number. This is episode 182, I think.
Right. But I put the number of painting it is. So I think this is the 84th painting that we've shown. So I put that all on the bottom here.
It's an elephant that's self-conscious about its truck size.
Tell us how you really feel, Mike.
Chase Mike away.
He won't be here long. He has better things to do than to watch us.
Yeah. All right. So before we encourage people to walk away, why don't we get into the list? Oh no, I'm not popping up those comments. Get into the list here. Top 5. Oh, does that say movies? That does say movies.
Oh man,
top-notch production here. Or games. There we go.
I believe it. I believe you're a lurker, Mike.
Fixed.
All right, so let's start this by saying
Caveat already.
Arkham Horror 2nd edition came out in 2005, and that, as we've discussed before, we kind of leave the stuff out of these lists that are closer to us than normal. And Arkham,
the thing that's going to be in every list. If it's in every list, you leave it out. Okay.
Right. So your game, my game, the game that got me into the hobby. Like, obviously, we would talk about it, and you can. I would. I'm not. But it did come out in 2005, so it would be in this list. However, I leave that off my list because it would be obvious I'd find a way to bring it into our top 5 movies of 2000. Like,
when was the first edition?
87.
87. Wow.
1987. I have it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I believe you.
It's either behind that one or this one.
Some qualifying games are behind you. I see that.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's definitely some from this era. Yeah. So that one, that would be my only caveat. I was going to try and do one from every year. I got 20 on my list. I didn't expect to have this many, but there are some bangers on here that they're just good.
I have 31.
Nice.
I took mine through several filters, right? So the first filter, of course, was no expansions.
Right.
The second filter was there are some games on this list that I haven't played, but I've played their second editions later, and I'm not going to list them because I'll list the second edition because that's what I played like whenever that came out. So those will be expected later. And then the next filter I did was if someone was new to board games, let's say last 2-3 years, maybe even 5 years, and they're used to all the newest games and mechanisms and stuff. Which of these do I think would still hold up to them with no nostalgia connected to it at all? You just show it to them, and it would just fit in with all the great games that are today. So I did that, which actually changed my list, because I had some up there that were more meaningful to me, or I'd played it 20,000 times or something, But I was honest about it. I don't think anybody else would like, not that they wouldn't like it, but mechanisms and styles of design and stuff have changed since then. We're talking 24 to 14 years ago.
Yeah. 24 years ago, things are a little different. But a lot of these still hold up.
Yeah, so the ones on my list, I believe, still hold up and will be anybody would enjoy if they tried today for the first time. And then I just put them in order of what I like best.
So all of yours on your list are games you believe people unfamiliar with the hobby would still enjoy today.
All of mine on my first 15 are games I believe people would still enjoy today. After that, no.
Okay. All right.
And there could be some arguments for it. I mean, especially because one of them or several of them have had new additions that have done well. So.
Okay. Why don't you start?
Didn't I start last time?
We do this every episode.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll start. So my number 5, because I do mine in order from what I would least like to play to the most like to play. Although would love to play any of these. I'm going to say something that you're probably not going to say at all. But you'll probably step on some of mine, I'm sure. Well, maybe not. There's a huge list here.
I'm going to try. My attempt is to take out your 1 and 2 as many weeks in a row as I can.
I don't think you'll get my 1.
No, I don't think I'll get any of yours.
You might get 1. Yeah. Anyway, we can find out by me saying what my number 5 is. Dominant Species.
Yep, not on my list.
So Dominant Species barely made the list of could play today. It would be considered extremely heavy. Shut up. Sorry, my cat's trying to break down my door. Do you hear it?
Yeah, I just heard it.
Stop it. Anyway. So Dominant Species barely made the list because it's got a mean streak in it. It's a big worker placement game. It's area control. Now we can read your name. That's great. I'll fix the number thing eventually. I'll move it over to where it covers your name fully. That's what.
Perfect. Yeah.
That reminds me. Do the like and subscribe and all that stuff. But anyway, that one would fit in the niche market of the people who still don't mind being a little mean. And I don't actually like the mean part of the game, but the worker placement part of the game is just phenomenal. And it's a heavier one. It's probably the heaviest one on my list. Oh, by far, it's the heaviest one on my list. But I played this, I think, 3 times on a Dice Tower cruise in 2020 with the same people. Like, we just kept going back to it. So, yeah, it's still good.
It is one of the GMT games, if not the only I kind of want to do Thunder Alley that I would actually try, because all the other ones, like GMT is not my favorite. It's not my type of game. I don't like those. But you talk about it often when certain lists comes up, and I hear it from other people that it's just a killer game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games. You know how I don't like Feed Your People? This doesn't have that, but there are some games that I love that still have Feed Your People because they're so good. This is one of the games that has like a mean thing in it, a take that thing in it, but it's so good that I forgive that kind of thing. It's basically, you can do all this different stuff in worker placement on it. and to advance your, the species. You could play spiders or lizards or whatever. It's early Earth species or whatever. You're doing stuff to advance them growing and doing well and stuff. But one of the things you could do is buy a card that just destroys other people and their efforts. Well, the thing is maybe nobody will buy the card and it will go away and that's fine. But somebody's going to buy that stupid card. And it better be you. And now you can't do all the things you do. Like it's got this like crunchy decision making stuff that I love. So,
like the military in Seven Wonders, it's there.
Yeah, it just
will do it. But as soon as somebody goes military, everyone has to start going military.
It's meaner than that. It's by quite a bit. It'll be like place a big ice glacier, just squash half of someone's thing, and everybody can see it. Everybody has the opportunity to go for it. But, yeah. So that's my number 5.
Okay.
I don't think I sold it very well. You know what I did? I honestly told you what it was. So anybody who's not scared by any of that, try it out.
Well, you've also mentioned it on multiple lists too. Like it's been talked about, and again, like I said, not only by you but by other people.
I believe it. Yeah, I know there's one that came out recently that is, I think it's the Ocean version, and I haven't played that one. Well, recently. It's probably been like 6 or 7 years since then. I haven't played that one. Yeah.
The GMT Dominant Species?
I think it's by, let me see. I can look it up right here.
Yeah, Dave's saying no BGG picks. Yeah, why aren't you doing BGG picks?
Yeah, 2021, actually, not as far. Oh yeah, I could show that. That's a good idea. Let me show that one. I'm not on my game today, if you can't tell.
Okay.
There we go. Here, I'll put it somewhere. I like being over here.
And that's GMT.
Of course, now the number 5 is covering up the screen, right? Anyway, this is the Marine version that came out in 2021, which I have not played. But yeah, it's GMT.
Huh. I didn't know they had another one.
And it looks really nice too. I will say the original one does not have this nice of shine on it. But
it's typical GMT garbage. I mean,
all right, what's your number 5?
So it's funny because I am going to talk about the only GMT game that I've played that I would ever play again. Battle Line.
I have not played
Battle Line. They have 2 editions or 2 versions. They have Battle Line, which is definitely more.
American Battle Line.
Nope, that's not it.
It's in one word.
Battle Line, two words.
Well, you can do it in one word.
Battle Line.
No, it's one word.
God, if we only had a blooper. It came out in 2000, if that helps.
I see American Battle Lines that came out in 2000.
Battle Line, 2 words.
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, hold on. I was messing up there. Battle Line 2000. Why didn't you say so? This one?
Hey, Tim. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, Battle Line is, so they have that one. It's an older Knizia. It came out in 2000. They have that one, and then they have a medieval one, like it's medieval themed.
Mm-hmm.
The game, it's 2-player only.
I have this game.
It's fantastic. I've talked about this. That's a homebrew. That's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the game. You have your deck of cards, and then you have those red pawns. You set up the red pawns in between. There you go. Perfect example. You set up the red pawns in between you. If somebody sits on either side, and then you start dropping cards, and the cards have numbers, and you're trying to basically make poker hands. You can do colors, you can do runs, you can do straights, whatever, just basic poker, which most people understand that whole. Why you got profile of Gonzo up there?
Oh, sorry. I told you I'm not working very well. I accidentally scrolled before hitting. For some reason,
I'm the one that's exhausted, and you're the one that's not on your game. It's amazing. Amazing. I like this. This is fun. The more exhausted I get, the more off you are. This is fun.
Yeah, you're affecting me.
I'm enjoying this.
I need to have.
Yeah, so most people understand poker hands, right? In some aspect of set
You'd be
collecting.
surprised. But yeah.
I think most people understand what like a run in numerical order or matching colors. Like it seems pretty simple, but you're dropping those cards at the different red pawns, and you play a card and draw a card, and then you can bluff people into certain parts of the line by like making them think you have 2 8s, and are they going to play the third 8 there? Or you drop a green, do you have the other green? But you can bluff people into going someplace else while they're also doing the same kind of thing, but you're trying to win 4 of the 7 or 3 in a row. It's super simple. And then there are these strategic cards. You can't have more than one more than your opponent. So if you have one, you can't have 2. You have to wait for them to get one for you to get another. But they'll change things. They'll kind of alter some of the game. But it's super straightforward. And every time I've brought it out, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I played it twice. I got it at my first go at Gen Con. And I remember enjoying it. I haven't touched it in a long time, though. Let me go back.
One of my favorite 2-player. It's not for everyone. It doesn't have a lot of the pomp. It doesn't have a lot of the like art. Just the strategy of stepping to the table and playing the cards and trying to bluff into, do you have it or do you not have it? And what you're playing is telling me something, or are you lying about it to throw me off? Like, it's got a lot of that stuff that I enjoy.
I mean, it doesn't have the art. Look at that. I mean, you got elephants, you got horses, people with spears.
I still stick by my comment.
None of it's AI.
That's probably all clip art. Color.
Yeah, but somebody made it.
The medieval version isn't bad. It's the same thing. It's different art, obviously. It's really easy to homebrew. You can make this anything you wanted, really.
Yeah, I saw the Simpsons version. It was funny.
Mm-hmm. But it's just at its core, it's a fun heads up game. A little bit of bluffing. Got your set collection. It's a good game. And it came out in 2000. It's the oldest one on my list. Tied for oldest on my list.
All right, so now we're going to go to your number 4. What's your number 4?
The second this also came out in 2000, and I adore it. It's a grail for most people. It's right here, Star Wars Gambit.
Yep. I also have not played this one. I would love to play it sometime.
I love it. Again, it's 2-player. I think it does a fantastic job of representing the chaos that was happening during that battle, where you had Steed Palace and what was going on there. You've got the Gungan fight going on over there, and you have the Duel of the Fates going on over there. And you're just playing cards, manipulating stuff, just trying to win. And you're playing both sides. It's worth it if you can find it for a reasonable price, even if the box is a little damaged. Like, make sure it's complete. I think I haven't played anything that's thematically as good as this game. Like, there are games that are really good with their theme. This one really captured, for me anyway, it captured the chaos of what was going on those 3 fields on your table. And so it came out in 2000.
Yeah. Which is 1 year after the movie.
Right. Avalon Hill.
Yeah. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, I know they need to come back out with it, right?
Yeah, retheming it to something would be great, but you have to find something that has the stress level of those 3 battles happening at the same time, because they were all happening at the same time, right?
I mean, that's the Star Wars thing, right? You think about Return of the Jedi. You get the people, you got the space fleet, you got Luke on the Death Star, and you get the group down on Endor. You got 3 different battles going on at the same time. And so they recreated that kind of feeling on here. And I think that's kind of a quintessential Star Wars big epic thing happening that I've actually tried to replicate in role-playing games before. It's insane. You can't do it unless you were to actually have 3 games going on at once that helped each other, that'd be an
Yeah.
epic thing to try to do someday. Yeah.
Yeah, they almost did it in 9 too, right? You got the space battle happening on the big Star Destroyer, and then you've got Kylo fighting on his front, and then you have Rey fighting on her front, but then Kylo joins in. I
Right.
see it, that 3 for thing, but I mean, it could be rethemed, I'm sure. It's all card play, it's all balance. Just having that tension of those 3 things happening at once in this game for when it came out, like I feel it still rocks. Like, it's a table hog, but what big game like that isn't?
Right.
And with all those pieces and everything, like I know it's a grail. I know it's hard to find, and I know when you find it, it's expensive. But if it's in good condition, I think it's worth it, because if you're even if you're not that much of a Star Wars fan, the tension that's going on in this game, you want to do things and you can't do everything, and you got to sacrifice some shit at some times. Like, it's a solid game.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't show a picture of Dominant Species, whatever that. So that was my number 5. But my number 4 is one we all know and love, but I couldn't not put it on here. Ticket to Ride.
Ride, Alan Moon.
Still stands up. I'll play it right now, and anybody playing it today would say this is a great game, and that's that's why it's such a classic. It's one of the top classics, right? So. It had to be on here. What year did it come out? 2004. Yep.
Good year.
It was a good year. I have 2 games from 2004. And Dominant Species came out 2010. I have another 2010 as well.
I have 3 04s on mine.
Yeah. There's a lot of good 04s.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
But, I mean, it seems kind of a waste of time to describe it, since everybody should know this one, and not in if you're not a gamer if you don't know this one. But if you don't know this one, you would enjoy it. I just don't know anybody who doesn't enjoy it. Or at least, like, you might be a war gamer, and maybe you say, okay, that's not for me or something. Nobody hates this game. Most people love it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Eric, I got your message. I was on the road coming back from the concert. I'll hit you up tomorrow. I also very much appreciate the small box versions of this, where each one has something different to it, right? The London one is different than the San Francisco one, which is different than, like, I like that they add not only just the maps in the big box with the different lines that you're trying to, like, create, but, like, they add something in the smaller box ones, the New York one and the London with the double-decker bus. Like, I like that they add some stuff. It's a smaller package. It might be easier to get out there and play, so you don't have the bigger box. But yeah,
I mean, even this box isn't. You're just talking about a stack of cards, a board, and then group of trains that you have, and that's it. And that's the other thing, is it takes like 5 seconds to set up, right?
Yeah, but even the small box ones, they still pack that punch, right? It scratches that itch.
Sure.
But it's it's a smaller box. So you can bring 4 of those along instead of just the one. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I know. Small box bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this the thing is, like, all the classic games that came out during this time, there's so few that are still just as good as they were whenever they came out. And this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yep. Easy number 4. And then I have a just as easy number 3 to talk about. Pretty much the same approach. 2010, I believe, and it's 7 Wonders.
Yep.
That's I think we even mentioned it earlier. Both of these are strong pillars of all of our board game designs today. Both of these. So, hard not to put it on the list. And I'll play it at any time. Same thing for Ticket to Ride. It's just so strong. In fact, I have it on my phone, and I still play it. I played it yesterday on my phone.
Nice.
And there's a lot of games from this time period that I have on my phone that I play. So, I mean, it stands the test of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it recently too. I mean, it's a great intro to drafting, right? To teach somebody how to draft.
Yeah.
and it's also a good introduction into hating your friends to your left and to your right. But the more I played Architects, I appreciate what Architects does. As smooth as this one is,
Yeah.
Architects is a little bit different in its execution, but it still has that chunkiness and that fun factor and that easy to get to the table and play, like get people up and playing really quickly. It's a great series.
I mean, yeah. So is the Duo, right? I mean, Duel, right? So
Duel.
Seven Wonders Duels is awesome,
Yep.
and yeah, they hit it out of the park every time. It's great, and I love Architects as well. So
Yeah,
but I feel like it's just a different game. I'll play both. I could play this one, then play Architects, and it would be different enough.
feels different. Yep, I agree. Good pick.
Yeah, it's my number 3. What's your number 3, sir?
All right, I'm gonna go to 2004. I thought this one was older. I'm surprised it isn't. But I feel like it's a classic, and it's one of those like I'd be playing at any time kind of games. It's No Thanks.
I was just about to say, is it No Thanks? Yeah, because I'm looking at the list of that I have on here.
Yeah. No Thanks is it's super easy. Like this is another one of those games. It's in a smaller size box. You're trying to get your runs together, trying filling in gaps, and you're either taking a card or putting a chip down. You're getting people to play this thing in a minute's time, and you want to immediately play it again. It's one of those that right away you're like, all right, do it again. Like I can do better. I can do better. And there is some luck in the way that the cards are shuffled and how they come out, but you have control. You have a lot of control over that luck.
Yeah, it takes that first game to figure out the strategy. You're like, oh, okay, I see. Don't take the card that I want immediately. Make people choke on it first. Get their chips. Got it.
Yeah, it's a good one. They redid it. It was I forget the company now that did it, but there's a version of it that's a little bit different called Smile. The art, it's got art. It's cute, like the creatures or the critters or whatever they call them. The art is really fun, and the game it has that same thing where you're either taking or you're putting a gem on it. So it's got that same kind of concept, but it adds like negatives and just bad stuff that you can do to other people. So that would be like another step to this. It's got that mechanism of either you want it or you're paying to get to not take it. But No Thanks is just a classic. It's one of those.
And as you can tell, there have been many iterations and different box colors and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good one. And the base. What was it, Amigo that had it?
It was not No Thanks. That's the Mind. What's going on here?
I think they're playing No Thanks with the Mind cards.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I feel like that's insulting to the Mind, but okay.
Well, that's actually more versatile of the Mind if you can play the Mind and play No Thanks. Oh, you need a bingo chip, really.
This is more like I have the cheap little chips. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them have art. Some of them are just basic with the numbers. But it's fun. It's fun. And it can be, I mean, Kabanga kind of has a little bit of that going on now. But it's No Thanks is just a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good.
Yep, 2004.
It's hard to imagine that much strategy stuffed into a little box this big, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, deck of cards numbered 1 through 100, and then a bunch of bingo chips.
John?
Hey, John.
Yeah, good pick. No thanks. All right, so then we're gonna sneak, and you do your number 2.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about Battle Line is 5, then Queen's Gambit was 4, and then No Thanks is 3. So 2000, 2000, 2004. Do I stay in 2004 and possibly take one away from you?
It's up to you.
I have to talk about this one.
All right, talk about it then.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about. It's going to be a little bit of a jump. I'm going to keep them in order though. I went 2000, then 2000, then 2004. So I'm going to jump up to 2008 as much as I want to talk about these others, and talk about a game that of all my games in my collection, I probably played this one damn near the most of any. And I have never beaten this fucking thing. Ghost Story.
Yeah, I was about to. With you saying that, I was like, oh, it's not that one. It's this one.
I've never succeeded at this game, and I love it. Every time I love it. It's such an amazing in your face. You can't do everything. You have to sacrifice some shit and hope you can recover. And it's just relentless coming at you constantly. And it's super well done. I love the art. I've talked about this before. They did a remake of it. It was called Last Bastion, and I like the art on that one too. But I love this story, like what's going on in here. And I've never played the expansions. I don't feel I need to add it. One, I've never beaten it, so why would I add it to make anything fucking harder? But the setup is easy. The way things move is fluid, like the chips and everything. It's just got something special in this game. It makes you want to play again. It's quick, doesn't overstay.
Brandon, you were playing wrong.
Yeah, you definitely played wrong.
Yeah, I've never beaten it either. Yeah,
no.
But I agree, it's really good.
And it doesn't overstay. Everything is intuitive. Like the way that you're sacrificing the chips for the things, like the way the big guys come in, how the spirits move, or whatever they're called, the ghosty things that move in towards your town, how it destroys your town. It's just a very solid game. I think it's still solid. It's still fun to play and challenging. Even in today's, like, the way games are now, this game still beats the piss out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. This is a pretty brutal one.
Yep. But not frustrating brutal, right? Like there are games where you're just like, this is the worst thing. I never want to play it again. That's just brutal. Like you can't find your way through. I've never beaten this game and I still want to play it. Like it's just a fun game to play. Also, the way that they wrapped into this game, like the idea that you're in this town and you're defending this town, like it's just solid. It's just a solid game.
Yeah, I've played this game and then wanted to play it again immediately afterwards. Okay, let's try it again. Kind of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It is a brutal one, but it's so good. It's so much fun.
Nice.
I like
it. All
right.
So we're getting my number 2, right? Okay, so my number 2 is probably the one you were going to try to step on if you stayed around in 2004. I'm guessing. This is the one I thought you were going to try to take.
Maybe. Betrayal. Yep, that was
Betrayal,
yeah. Yep.
And I put up the original one that I had. This was the color I had with it. I think this was the 2004 cover. Of course, now it has a different green cover, which I don't think it's as fun, but it's still a nice cover.
I don't even think it's green anymore. I think the new edition is different.
Oh, yeah. It's even a different one now at this point, right? Yeah. I know a lot of people say this game is broken. It's not broken. There's never been, I've played many, many times. There's never been a game that I haven't been able to finish. And broken, to me, a broken game is one that you can't continue because, oh, wait, the rules say that we do this, but we can't. And, I've only had 2 games I've ever played that I would say are broken. There are some scenarios that don't fire very well. But, man, when the scenarios come in real strong and it becomes like a epic story, this game is great. But sometimes, I showed this game once to a friend of mine. It was the first time he played it, and it was the bat scenario. And it has bats coming through the window, and the amount of bats, and the whole thing to beat it is destroy all the bats, right?
Right.
But just the way the house got built, and when the horror happened, there was only one window. So one bat came in, and the guy went, done, we won. And he was like, this game sucks. I was like, all right. I mean, we did win, but it was such a weird scenario, once in a lifetime thing. But so I always push against people saying that it's broken. It's not broken. It just, so much can happen in any one scenario that even if you play the same scenario twice, it can be totally different. Yep. Sometimes you have great ones. Sometimes they're okay. Sometimes they're funny like that. So. But I want to try. I'm surprised that they don't have this in other genres. more than what they already do.
Yeah.
Like I want space theme, I want superheroes, I mean, why isn't this done more? I think it's just because a lot of people complain about it, but it's still hanging around. People still love playing it. So
they did a legacy version of it. That's how good it was.
Yep. And the D&D version I actually prefer over this one now.
The Baldur's Gate one.
Yeah, mostly because you get your own abilities, your superhero ability. You have like a superpower. If you're the sorcerer, you could shoot magic missiles, stuff like that. But it has that. But also they fixed it. Well, not fixed it, but in this one, there's always a traitor, and it's one of you, right?
Yeah.
But in the D&D one, 50% of the time, there's a like bad guy that pops up, and all of you work together that they've defeat it. So.
Cool.
Yeah. So I kind of like the scenarios have a little more whatever it is that people say is broken. It's less of that. So
that's the only hit you can say on this is when the haunt happens, someone has to leave the room.
Yeah,
and they become their own. And it may not be the person that knows that is familiar with games or wants to play by themselves, but I know how much you hate house rules, but I just don't. Just make it whatever works for your group, right? Like,
no, that's not a house rule. That's in the rules. If you read the rules, it'll tell you that if you don't want to do that haunt because you don't want to do the haunt revealer or you've done it before, move to the next line and do that one. It says it in the rules, so people just don't know that they can do that, I guess.
Well, that's like everybody plays Monopoly wrong because they never read the thing about it going to auction immediately.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone has always played Monopoly wrong.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Mm-hmm.
We always get money in the free parking. But that's not a thing.
Yeah, that's also a thing. Yeah, there's a
free
video.
Parking is supposed to just be a loss of a turn, basically. You do nothing.
Do you know or have you heard of Scott Nicholson? You know Scott Nicholson?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a video of when his game Going Gone came out. His game group was kind of like a couple times they met at the tutoring center that I owned. So I met Scott that way, and we were at his house and he shot a promo video for his Going Gone thing. And in the promo video, we're playing Monopoly, and the acting that he did about it's hysterical. It's really funny. But that's where I learned. I had no idea that Monopoly was played that way until we were shooting that video for his game. That he was like, "No, this is how it's played." Like I had no idea.
But anyway, Betrayal, nothing like Monopoly. But
no, but
it's a fun. It's a fun game. I mean, it's basically a RPG for about 45 minutes to an hour, right?
Yeah, or not, right? Well, you could roll the dice, and they could just come up with the right amount based on the omens, and you're 20 minutes into the game.
That's true. Sure.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I figured when you were like, do it take your 2004? I was like, yeah, it's not. The other one I was thinking that you might do was No Thanks. So. All right. So then I'm doing my number one, right? I'm doing a snake.
Correct.
Yep. All right. So my number one, probably predictable by you because I've talked about this before, but there's a lot of games in here. But my number one is still Cyclades.
Cyclades. Yep, that was a given.
This one.
Game.
What was it?
I have still not played this game.
Oh man, it's a good game. Yeah, I think you'd really like it. This has a great bidding system. You basically have 4 god power or 5 god powers to choose, and that's going to be your actions that you can do. Let's see if those are the gods right there. So Poseidon lets you do stuff with your boats, and Athena lets you do stuff with philosophers, and that's Poseidon, and so on, right? Ares lets you do stuff with your soldiers. And so you're only going to do one of those things. You're only going to mess with your boats one round, or you're only going to move your soldiers one round. And it's all about creating 2 metropolis cities or controlling them at least. And you can kind of turtle and sit on your own islands and just try to build it yourself and hope nobody gets the Ares board. and comes over and takes your stuff, or the Poseidon one. But yeah, I mean, it's such a cool idea that you have to. Yeah, I was hoping for a better picture where you can see how it's laid out once it's on the board. Um, Thanks for the useless pictures. So anyway, you basically bid on the god that you want. So you got money basically, and you're like, I need Ares so that Mike doesn't use Ares to come and take my spot, and I'll just use Ares to build up my people because I'm trying to protect my spot. And then you and I get in a bidding war over it. I'm like, fine, you can have Ares for like $20, and I'm gonna take the next one for like $1 because nobody else is doing it, So yeah, it's a great game. I think it still holds up today. I have not played it with the Titans expansion, and I've heard good stuff about that. And I have it now. I just haven't played it yet. So.
And they just did a new edition of this too.
Yeah, I don't know what they changed on the new editions.
They had it at the Gathering.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they had the new art. It's a big, like, it's a square box. It's not the long box that this one is anymore. But
yeah,
it's thick.
I remember looking at the Kickstarter and just thinking, I'm happy with what I have, but I'm glad that it's out again. So new people can try it.
New people.
That's
Bruno. That was Bruno right there.
Right there, yeah, Bruno Catala.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first game I think I played of his too. So he's one of my favorite designers because of that. So yeah, that's my number one.
He makes some good games, that's for sure.
What's your number one, sir? You didn't step on any of mine.
I'm actually I did. Well, I almost did Betrayal.
Could have.
I wanted to talk about this one, but I have to talk about Cockroach Poker.
I thought you might put that one in there.
I have to. I can't not. I know I said I was continuously moving forward, but it's another 2004. It always comes with me when I go to game night. And every time I bring it to the table and that first card is put in front of somebody, I'm reminded why this game is fantastic. It's so simple, and it's kind of, it takes a minute to understand. You can not lie in this game and win. And sometimes it's a really good strategy where you're bluffing, double bluffing into the thing. But when you have your hand and you drop a card and you put it in front of somebody and you tell them it's a bug, I immediately get giddy. Like, I get all sorts of happy when that happens, regardless of if I'm first player or it's given in front of me or whatever. That moment, because someone immediately is like, is it like you're lying? You got to be lying. Am I? And that fun, it happens immediately. It's so much fun. This game, it's super compact. It's easy to bring in. You're up and playing it in a minute's time. It's unbelievable how much fun this game is. No matter, you bring it, we brought it to a restaurant and you just play before the food comes. Like, it's super chill. It's super easy to learn.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, we played this, the first time I ever played this was at the Gathering this year.
At Judy's.
Yeah.
At the lounge with the wing.
Yeah, with you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I mean, I knew of the game, I just hadn't played it. And, first game, I was like, okay, I did horribly, but I was like, okay, I see why it's been around for so long. Very good.
Yeah, because immediately you want to play it again. It's got that feel. And even if somebody is good at lying, you're either lying or you're not. And you can get around it by just accepting it and giving it to somebody else. And then, like, it's just the way that it works. It's super fun. It's super fun.
And one of the things I like is I like looking and going, you have to be lying because I see what you have and there's no way you would want to do that. And then you call their bluff and it's not what you thought it was. And you're like, oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you look down and go, oh, but I didn't want this. Oh, you son of... Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because you play into that. Like, you could have 3 cockroaches in front of you. And the idea is you lose. Someone loses, everyone else wins. Like, there's a loser and everyone else doesn't lose. And if you ever get 4 of the same bug in front of you, insect, I don't know what they call them, insects.
Well, it's more than that because there's a frog and a rat and bats. And
so yeah, but they're not critters. Whatever they call
Creature.
So, if you ever get 4 of the same in front of you, then you're out. You lose, and they're different art. Like even that in itself, they could have done the same frog or they could have done the same fly, and they're not. And you ever get 4 of the same in front of you, you're done. So you're playing to that. Like if someone has 2, their guard's up, and you can play to that guard really well, and then using the fact that like you just slide it to somebody and be like, you know what to do with this, and then they don't know what to do with this, but you're confident that they should know. Like it's so fucking awesome, this game.
Yeah, good pick.
That's a good question, Brandon. There are more that someone loses, everyone else wins, but none stick out as much as this. Like this is the game for that, I think.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good list.
Even
like
putting
any of those
back of the card, right? They have all 8 bugs on the back of the card.
Yeah,
and you can use that to your advantage. And like you could drop a card down and be like, it's a fly, and then I could point to something else, and you're saying, so it's this? No, it's a fly. Like you can catch people by you. It's open to however you want to play it. It's like playing it with people that don't even look at the card. Like I played it. I told you. I told the story.
Eric did that to us. Yeah.
And Eric, he'll get a card, and he won't look at it and just pass it along. And you're like, I don't even know what to do with this now. Like you don't even. It's amazing. It's so much fun. This game. This lands every time.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's not a good tactic to not look at the card because everybody just says you're lying. And what is it? One out of 8 times, 1 out of 10 times, or whatever. It's 8, right? 1 out of 8 times you're gonna be lying and not know it. Yeah.
Right, but it works.
Hey, you can do it. It is not the best strategy.
It's not, but it works. If you pull that strategy out at the right time, it works.
Oh, if you do it once at the right time or something like that, but he was doing it every card. Like no matter what, he just kept doing it.
Depending on what you had.
Right.
He would do it. He'd do it multiple times in a row, but that was part of that was the pre-strategy, because then he would just pass it along, and if it backfired, it backfired. And then he used that as part of his strategy to do it the right way and then just totally blow your mind. Yeah. It's unreal. Yeah, I'm with Nikki. It still works.
I take that 1 out of 8 risk anytime to give you more stuff.
Oh, such a good game. That's a good list.
Yeah, good list. Alhambra. Animal upon Animal. I don't think I played that one.
That's big chunk.
I know some people would have Carcassonne on this list. Stone Age is really good. Yeah. Viva Top.
So my Carcassonne, Carcassonne's fine. I know it's got a huge following. It's a big game. It's a lot of people's intro. My Carcassonne is Glenmore, which came out in this time period. 2010, just at the end of it. But Glenmore does a lot of that tile placement. You have restrictions. You got your little, the whatever they call them, not shepherds.
Just meeple people.
Yeah, they're something. They're like brewmasters or something. I forget what they call them. But it does a lot of that, and I think I love the way the rondel works in that game. Carcassonne's fine. I think Glenmore, maybe it's a little bit more. But
Carcassonne is one of the ones that I took off the list. Well, first of all, I'm not a big fan of it, but I took off the list as I don't think it holds up to today's standards.
Yeah.
I think the games today that have that kind of table presence, that same level weight of table presence, just offer more.
Yeah. Well, Carcassonne was what? What year? Is that 2004? No.
I had it up, but I took it off my list, so I don't know.
Well, good thing I beat you.
Yeah. You're going to make me try to spell Carcassonne. It's 2000.
If I do it, my internet will just give me a middle finger and shut me down. So
it's 2000.
2000. All right. And Glenmore is 10 years after that.
Yeah.
Glenmore is 2010. I think it and there are plenty of games that have that. There's plenty of games that have that tile laying, connecting thing. Four Gods does it. Four Gods is super fun. There are a lot of games that have that tile placement. I think you're right. I think it was a great platform, and then designers have enhanced that mechanism tenfold.
So I was expecting you to stomp on a couple. One, I thought at least Ticket to Ride and Seven Wonders and Betrayal. At least those three were going to be taken by you, or at least one of them. But
Seven Wonders and Betrayal, I knew you would talk about. They're on my list, and I knew you'd talk about them, so I didn't have to touch them.
I mean, also on the list, Wits and Wagers, still just as strong today.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the Vegas version of it.
Good little party one. Yeah. Dominion, I still play that on my phone. Dominion's still strong.
The same thing you mentioned about Carcassonne, though. I think Dominion is. I would put Dominion and Carcassonne parallel to each other. Because I feel like there are deck builders that do deck building better than Dominion. I think Dominion was a great start, just like Carcassonne was a great start. But I think the deck building genre has done so much more with that streamlined kind of way to do things that Dominion's still good, and I wouldn't not play it. But I feel like, I mean, even the low hanging fruit here is Star Realms. Like Star Realms just did it better. But Dominion, like you can't knock Dominion because they have what 700.
Yeah, but see, Star Realms has a different feel because you're battling each other.
Sure, yeah, 2-player. Mm-hmm. Oh well, now they changed it a little bit, but
sure. The first, I guess the Carcassonne.
Nice.
Jamaica. I was surprised. 2007. Yeah, that's still a good one. Still a good one.
I just talked about it at QSCon. That was the first game that I played at my first board game convention. Was Jamaica, and the guy that taught it to me has come to every QSCon that I've had.
Wow.
A couple of people in the chat met him at QSCon this year. His name is Joseph. He's an unbelievable human. I love him to death. And I was walking around it was Dice Tower Con before it was Dice Tower East. And I clearly had no idea what the fuck I was doing among 1,700 people. He's like, hey, you want to play a game? And I'm like, yep, that's why I'm here. And he taught Jamaica that was the first game I ever played was Jamaica. I love it. I still love Jamaica.
Jaipur. That's still solid.
That was the one I wanted to talk about instead of Cockroach Poker.
Yeah. That's a tough between which one to do. Now, Jaipur is only 2-player. But it's so solid. Yeah.
Unbelievable. But also not for everybody. Like I've played, there's an element to that is it's straightforward, right? You're set collecting and you're turning them in, and it can be really mean because you can hate draft the fuck out of one of those jewels that somebody wants. And the camels can really sway the game. But I talked about Battle Line, so I feel like a 2-player heads-up card game, Jaipur, although it's my favorite, I think Battle Line might be a little bit easier to get to the table to teach people than Jaipur.
Really? Because Jaipur is really easy.
It is. You take one or you take all. You can trade with your camels. Like there's a little bit more to Jaipur than to me. Well, I guess maybe Battle Line has those cards that you have to explain. Same vein. But Jaipur is fantastic. I love that game.
Stone Age 2008.
Worker placement.
If you see a post asking about worker placement games, it's still like one of the most dominant answers everybody gets is Stone Age.
Yep.
It's just one of the most solid worker placement games around.
Yep.
Still is.
Agreed.
I was surprised that Telestrations was from 2009.
I didn't even see it on the list.
Yeah, 2009. And that's still a fun, silly party game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind party games on here. Small World, I don't know. That one was on the fence for me if it's still playable today.
It is, but I don't know how many people still play Small World.
Right. I mean, by playable, I mean like show it to a new person and it becomes one of their favorite games, just like today's games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some stuff that's a little dated, but it also has some stuff that nobody's ever duplicated, really.
Well, and they did the Warcraft version of it too.
As what?
They did the World of Warcraft version.
Oh, did they? Oh, yeah. I've never played that one. It's cool.
I didn't either, but that was only a couple years ago that they did that one.
Small World of Warcraft is that what they did?
Yep.
That's funny. Dixit 2008. That's still a strong one.
Yep.
I know people, still play it today, can get people into it today.
Yep.
And then the last one I had for still able to get people to play and they would like it would be Alien Frontiers, but that's kind of on the edge as well.
Yeah, that one's 2010. That was on my list as well.
Yeah, that one is the one that let me know that I could use Kickstarter to make board games.
Mm-hmm.
So I owe that one because they got me into the industry in 2011. I launched my first one, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, Alien Frontiers, it's very straightforward. It's dice worker placement. It has a lot of the good things that I love in games, and it can be mean as shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you want to build that extra ship, and somebody puts something there, you just, all right, not this time. Like, you could really choke people out of that game's got the same. Maybe it's not as mean as Waterdeep, but it's got the same kind of feels at different spots.
Yeah, because it's not hate drafting, it's hate placing. That's what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Hate placing.
Yeah. And then do you have any on your list that you still think if you taught somebody today it would compete with today's games?
I mean, you hit a lot of the ones that I would have on mine. Jaipur was on mine. Alien Frontiers. Jamaica is also on there. I talked about Glenmore. I think I won't say this one because you were talking. Hey, Alan. I won't mention one that came out during this because of your caveat in the beginning of being second edition things. So I'll leave one alone.
That was my caveat. You can mention whatever you want.
Endeavor.
Oh, yep. It's right behind you. Yep.
I mean, the Z-Man edition, it's flawed. Like, looking back at it, and this was 2009, like, what Burn Island did to it cleaned up a lot of that stuff. But I still love that game. I recently played Kingsburg again. I love Kingsburg. I love it. It's 2007. I think it still holds up. You got the 4 seasons and then the battle and the 4 seasons and the battle. It's easy, right? You roll your dice, you add them up, you get your resources, you do your thing.
Yeah. Kingsburg's good.
One that is getting redone by Pandasaurus, but I know it was a grail for a while, is Finca. Finca's amazing.
I've never played it. I've heard of it.
Yeah. You would love Finca. The way the rondel works in Finca is beautiful.
You got me with rondel. So.
Yep. Defenders of the Realm was 2010. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just a better pandemic. There's one of my favorite roll and writes is Corinth, with the way they do the dice rolling. You add the yellow and only the first player. I don't know how you pronounce it. Yaspahan. Yspah.
I don't know that one.
It came out in 2006. Corinth is the roll and write version of this game, and it's great.
Okay. Imperial and Age of Empires 3.
Empires.
Although I'd argue that, well, I'm not going to argue. Those are good games, but I just wouldn't show them to new people compared to games today. My subjective opinion on it.
Sure. Yeah, I think all of these I would show. I mean, Shadows over Camelot was 05, and that one has to be mentioned, but that one with that betrayal mechanism and the hidden, that could shy people away from playing it.
Well, I don't know about shy as far as there's just been some games that have come out since that have tweaked it to be a little bit better. You know what I mean? So if someone's played like Dead of Winter, and then which isn't even a new game anymore, which is crazy. But if someone's played that, and then you show them that, I think they'd be disappointed in the trader mechanism of it.
That's fair. And then one of my favorite games ever, Mr. Jack, came out in 06.
I thought you were going to say that in your list. I saw that on there.
I love it. But yeah, again, 2-player, right? Like, I didn't want to go all 2-player with these things. But
there were a lot of 2-players. Yeah.
A lot of 2 players.
I think Mr. Jack is a fine game. I don't know why you hold it in such esteem. I think it's a fun game, and I'd play it if you wanted to play it and stuff. But I'm always surprised by how much you like that game.
Love it. I love the deduction of it. I like the Phantom of the Opera version too. It feels a little different, but it's basically the same. But I feel it's another one of those games that you want to play right away. And if you play the other role, it feels like you're playing a different game. Like immediately, like it's a 20-minute maybe romp through the streets. And then all of a sudden you flip it over and you're trying to capture instead of get away. And it just feels different. And I love the deduction that's happening with the turning over the chips because you know it's not them, but it has to be these. And then you're trying to stay hidden as long as you can because you don't want to get caught out. There's such a nice push and pull with that game.
Yeah. Oh, I also had Star Wars Epic Duels on my list.
Yep.
Basically because Unmatched is popular and it's the same thing. So it's just Unmatched but Star Wars.
But Star Wars, yep.
Yeah. That's basically where Unmatched got its mechanisms from.
Yep.
And I think they even say that. Glory to Rome, still a really good game. But yeah, that one has some issues ever being a game again, so probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, also it's $500 to get a copy.
Yeah. Well, I just mean all the politics or whatever it takes. No one could ever remake that game, right?
No, but from what I understand, you can get Uchronia from Yellow, and it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I have a list of. I had this weird one. I have a game that I don't feel stands up to newer games. I still love it, but it just had a re-release and did really well. So I must be wrong on it, but it's Galaxy Trucker.
Oh yeah, that always fell short for me.
I've always loved it, but it's got real time grab stuff in it and all that. I just don't think that holds up anymore.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that the new version did really well, or at least it seemed like it did really well. Yeah. Let's see. Race for the Galaxy. Should mention that one.
That's a good one.
Ingenious.
Yeah. Yep. Innovation came out this year too, or this within this decade.
In that group. Power Grid. That's in my list of doesn't hold up to today's standards, but I will always like that game.
If you want to get people turned off to board games, teach them Power Grid.
Unless I've only ever played the second version of London, so I didn't put it on this list.
I've never played London.
It's a good game. Very good.
I believe you.
Merchants and Marauders.
That's a good one.
Oh, Dungeon Lords.
Yeah, that's a heavier one.
Yeah. This well, it's not so heavy as that the rule book is thick. Like, and I don't mean thick as in pages. I mean as in whoever wrote it is thick in the British sense. It's so difficult to get through that rule book. It's been so long that I've played it that I looked at it like a week or so ago, and I thought I'd have to look at that rule book, and I'm not going to do it. Just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Where's the rest of your second editions on the list, Chris? I don't know. And I had Ghost Stories on here, Arkham Horror, of course, 2005. Yeah, I knew you'd. I thought you'd put it on the list no matter what because it fits within it so well. But
yeah, but it's a given. I mean, that game's just I love it.
I was surprised Hanabi was 2010.
Yeah, same.
I thought it was older.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And then here's one that definitely I don't think would stand up to the test of time, but Last Night on Earth.
I love that game.
I did too. I mean, you really felt like you were in the zombie, universe and all that stuff. I looked at it, a while back, and I was just like, man, there's so much to this game now that I don't remember how to play, and would I still be into it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's good for nostalgia feel, I think.
Yeah. And Suro, I still play 2005.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yep. Yeah, that's it was these are the great foundations that we have that we've built upon, right? So it'll be fun doing. I guess next time we do one of these, it'll be 2011. We'll see
Sure.
how many are in there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're gonna hit a few years maybe where I haven't even played 5 games a year. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll do.
I think
I'll
we're
make
safe going forward.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. But and I might not be able to make a full list out of 1 year of games that stand up for today. In some years, it kind of depends.
Yeah,
Mike's
Downfall of Pompeii is a good one.
going through the list now. He's like, "Oh my god, and that one, and that one."
Yep.
Yeah,
there are a lot. There are a lot of good ones. I mean, also we're board gamers. We love the hobby, so there's a lot of good games that's still like you would still play today, 20 years later. But yeah, I like your little easy to teach someone today, and that would still not turn them off. Like Power Grid might not. It's not like maybe the right people at the table, but you're not breaking that out to new to the hobby players.
Oh yeah, we love the classics too. It's just, it in my mind, I'm like, okay, you just showed somebody Cascadia.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to show them, Dungeon Lords next? No, or that's not a equal one,
No.
but you know what I mean. It's like equal weight of game. Are you going to show them that one? Like some of them just don't. There have been games that have done it better since. So
yeah. I agree. Good stuff, though.
Yeah, all good games. All right. Well, that's going to be our. So yes, about an hour and a half. Look at that.
Yeah, a little bit of extra talking.
Yeah. But that's our list. No apologizing.
I don't apologize for anything.
Next week, I don't know if we'll do 2011 or if we'll go back to the movies. We'll jump around. We'll do different stuff. So
yeah, we got to get a guest on too. I gotta book a couple people. I'm Aaron from Roller Crits going through the Kickstarter right now for the Heroes of Arcadia. So we might be able to grab him.
This is a weird time because you got so many cons. A lot of people have cons and stuff. Like I said, Essen's coming this week. Thanks, guys. And you also have like a bunch of. We're getting into all the Kickstarters are about to start firing up. So a lot of busy people in the industry. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Well, thanks everybody. And you should go sleep.
At some point.
Oh yeah, I forgot the whole. There we go. Let's put one of those up. All right, thanks everybody. Just leave it up whenever. Bye.
See you guys.